All right, guys. Let me talk about something right quick. I was watching this. It was a special about whites in America. To be honest, I caught a little of it. It was on. I think it was like a blurb from the BBC or something. But I have a take on what I see about what are the real factors behind that leads to our main issue in this country. Let me talk about it. This is DJ Wolf Live. All right, guys. First things first, and I do want to address this. I really should use Anchor to talk about this. Actually, you know what? Nah, I do it later on. I do it on a later podcast. You guys also know that I am on a new podcast app called Anchor. It's a brilliant podcast app. I don't know why I'm talking about on Spreaker, but Spreaker's good. Both of them are very good. I use both of them. I'm also on YouTube, and recently I've added myself to the iTunes podcast. I got some other stuff coming up on that real soon, and Spotify. So you can catch me on all of them, and iHeartRadio. So, all right, guys. I want to talk about this right quick. I was watching a YouTube video, and it got me to thinking about something that I probably should have talked about before, if I hadn't already. One of our issues, and I can tell you from kind of personal experience, one of our issues that really is the number one reason why we are in the shape that we're in today as black communities, and why so many of our communities have fallen down: economics. Let me explain to you about that right quick. I remember as a kid growing up in the 1970s. All right. Some of my friends had both two parents. The fuck? Hit something. I hope it don't damage my tire. Some of my friends come from two-parent party households, and there were some that didn't. Some were raised by single mothers. Some were raised by their grandmothers. Some were raised by their grandfathers. Some were raised by their uncles. You know. Matter of fact, I had some cousins of mine who stayed in the East Cleveland suburb were raised by my grandmother. That's a long story. I won't go into details about that. All right. Now, what I'm saying is there were jobs abound. You know, a lot of factories were here in the U.S. that manufactured parts in the U.S. that did get imported outside of the U.S. to other countries. Many of the factories that existed 40, 50, and even some cases almost 60 years ago, a lot of our African Americans were able to get those type of jobs and work in those factories and car manufacturing plants and stuff like that. I had aunts and uncles who worked in several of the big name auto plants, GM and Ford, Chrysler. A friend of mine's dad worked at, I think he worked at Ford. Yeah, he did work at Ford. Anyway, but when that crisis boom came, man, and I mean it came hard in the late 70s, man, and they started reducing the car sizes and all that, you know, that's when you felt the boom, man, and you could see it. And it was just a rapid decline for 20 some odd years. It just, you know, our country and our neighborhoods took a hit on a lot of that stuff. You know, but it was like a domino effect, and I could see it in Cleveland because we had some big name companies there. We had the Fisher Body plant that was right down the street from where my dad lived at, and there was Eaton that wasn't too far from there either. They were big name companies. They were nationally known companies. Well, the Fisher Body plant I know was famous, very well known. At least the one in Cleveland was. And the Eaton Company was worldwide. It was but their main headquarters was on 140th near St. Clair, Cleveland. This I know for a fact. Yeah, several big companies over there, man. And a lot of big companies, especially on my side of town, because a lot of industry plants were not far from where I grew up. You know, they were like closer to the lake, and the Conrail was a big deal over there. My uncle worked for Conrail for years. Those places were on the lake because it was near where the materials was, and it was easy to access them from the ports. A lot of the companies were right not far from the lake. Then you had the trains that ran across there along that line. So, but when they started importing companies overseas for cheaper labor and they busted the unions, that's where things went south. I saw it. I witnessed it as a child and as a teenager. And when I saw it, I was like, oh man, I better have a change of plans, man, because I can see right now, you know, there may not be a job for me to work by the time I get up there, you know. That's one of the reasons I left the city, you know. And a lot of homes were left destitute after that. But part of the problem on the economic side was a lot of these people and families who had, you know, at least the head of households, mothers and fathers, who had these jobs back then didn't prepare for anything else. Many of them didn't. I'm being serious. They were buying big cars, you know, one saving money for many of the kids. Kids had to go out there and get these loans. Kids got screwed over on that issue, you know. And in turn, they couldn't go to college. They had to try to find menial jobs. Like myself, I was working menial jobs at the time before I went in the military, you know. And it kind of hurt us, man. It kind of hurt communities. Because generations of families weren't able to build on what their parents did, and their parents in turn didn't build on what they should have did to allow their kids to be able to have some kind of future, because they were too busy spending on buying everything up, buying on big cars and stuff and all the kind of stuff. It was just like, and I thought about that and I say, man, maybe that's part of the reason, you know. But the tables were turned on us, on our generations, when they decided to move these daggone jobs overseas. You know, the big companies decided, well, no, you're not going to have it your way. We're going to tear y'all up. We're going to put y'all back to where y'all was at before, destitute. And that's what they did. You know, economics do play a role in why we're in the shape that we're in. It plays a big role in it, you know, among some other things. Single black women having multiple children out way a lot, provide no real future for the children. Yeah, that plays even bigger role. I don't care what anybody says, but it does. It clearly does, whether you want to recognize it or not. You know, just wanted to say that, man. Give you a little something to chew on, but also give you a dose of reality of why we're in the situations that we are. And I know some people, oh, you got any plans? No, do you have any plans? Don't ask me about that. I had a guy do that years ago on Facebook. We went into it by almost an hour on my birthday. I'll never forget that. I was like, man, he was talking really stupid stuff, but he couldn't come up, you know, ask me, do I got any plan? No, do you got any plan? How about you look in the mirror and do what you need to do as a man, you know, for yourself? You know, I don't have to speak for you. Speak for yourself. You know, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? You know, individually, you do have to. It's like somebody said, But part of that issue with the economics thing in terms of jobs is public policy, as far as I'm concerned. It is public policy. You know there's something going on in your neighbor, in these communities. The people who represent those communities and aren't doing anything about it. That's why I said politicians. Politicians to me are a joke. They are. I don't trust any of them. I don't trust none of them. The Republicans, Democrats, Independents, they're all the same to me. I said it before and I say it again. It's true. They're all the same. They can't be trusted. At least not for me. I can't trust them enough to vote for them. I can't put all my eggs in a basket for people who don't represent my interests. And I refuse to do so. And I continue to do so. So, until that happens, not voting, until you guys start representing our neighborhood, our communities the way you're supposed to. And fight for it the way you're supposed to. Like politicians, real politicians are supposed to. At least the ones who call themselves being honest. Alright? That's about all I got right here. This is DJ Wolf. I'm out.